Okay. There's now time to start the committee.
About time.
All right, this is a meeting of the Planning Commission for 7/18/2021. We have all members on the commission here, except for an alternate, George Glass. So everybody else is here. Regular members are here, and two alternates, Alan and Scott, are here. First item on the agenda is the review of the minutes of last meeting, which was February 4th. Yeah, I went through them. I didn't see anything to change or modify, but you folks have had time to look at them. I don't know how you feel about them.
Motion to accept
Make a motion.
February 4th as entered.
Okay,
I'll second.
you got a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, aye. Got enough ayes? Yeah, I guess so. All right, got a shirt similar to mine. All right, next item on the agenda. I don't see the folks there who were, that's Foxtail Lane, the application for a lot line revision. We got a note from the attorney, our attorney.
Swipe up.
It was, let's see, I got it here someplace. Okay, that's the application. This was the lot line revision where there was a little bump on both sides, and we went to Tom Beecher to let him know about the documents.
53 square feet, trading hands.
Yeah. Anyhow, I don't know if you all got Tom Beecher's note, but I'll read it into the record. Tom Beecher says this is a minor routine lot revision to evenly exchange 53 square feet of property so as to allow one property owner to comply with setback provision in the regs. I see no reason not to approve the application. Even did I. My comments. The application accidentally indicated on top of page 1 that this transaction would result in the creation of a new lot. It will not. I asked the applicant's attorney to provide 2 quitclaim deeds, as is the commission's practice, instead of the originally proposed lot line revision agreement. Attorney Mizuko sent me the 2 quitclaim deeds, which I have approved, and they're attached. I would suggest that if the commission approves the application, the commission do so with the condition that the Mylar map and fully executed deeds are filed in the land records and a copy of the recording receipt provided to the land use office prior to the issuance of any permits. Do we need any more discussion of this application, guys?
I don't think so.
That sounds pretty straightforward. I just hope they don't want to put a fence up.
Go ahead, somebody make a motion.
Motion to accept lot line revision as presented with stipulations to be included.
The stipulations being.
Hello, this is Frank Cinto.
Hello, somebody there?
Hi, Frank.
Yes, this
They're,
is Frank.
Oh, okay.
Hi,
Frank,
is that
they're
Alice?
they're just voting now to approve your lot line revision.
Okay,
Oh, okay, very good.
Including Tom
Thank you. I'm
Beecher's.
sorry, I'm
Tom Beecher's.
late to it. I couldn't get in on the link, so I had to use my phone. Thank you.
yeah, no problem. We got a couple stipulations. The stipulations would be, if we approve it, would be the Mylar map and fully executed deeds are filed in the land records, and a copy of the recording receipt provided to the land use office prior to issuing of any permits. Yeah.
Yes, I saw that. That's from Tom Beecher's email. Yes.
Right.
Right, so we're gonna follow Tom Beecher's advice and Ready for a vote to approve? Oh, okay. Did you make a motion, Bruce?
Bruce made a motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Got a second from Mel. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing it. Congratulations, you got your lot line revision.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it, commissioner members. And
Thank
good
you.
night.
You're
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Be safe.
Next item on the agenda is to talk about the Westcog meeting of February 10th. And we also got a guest. I see he's online here. Are you here, Steve?
Yeah, I am here, John. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right.
There was a meeting of Westcog on the 10th, which some of us listened to. Westcog has been doing review now for the last couple months about the upcoming legislative session. And they've gone through some of the proposed bills that are coming up. And they seem to have concerns, and they're trying to gather some of the membership of Westcog, which is about, well, in some of the meetings I've been on, there's been 2 that I've been on, there's been about 15 to 20 people attending. Basically chairman of the land use and zoning boards. And there's a lot of concern about what's going to happen up in Hartford this year. So
Yeah, and for good reason. I mean, considering some of the proposals, yeah. So I think, the one thing I'll say, Mr. Chair, and to everyone else on the commission, thanks for allowing me the opportunity to chat for a little bit. I'm happy to answer any questions in regards to this, but I've read some of the proposals that Westcog was concerned with. I read all of them actually, and they're pretty much widely known or discussed bills up in Hartford so far this session. I don't think any of them ultimately will come to fruition. And it's Senator Looney's the one that proposed, I think, the majority of these bills.
yeah,
And he's a powerful person up in Hartford. There's no doubt about that. But he does have a tendency to propose some proposals that are really far-reaching every single year. To make a point, I think, in some regard, and that's neither here nor there. I respect that. Which tend not to really go all that far, because I think most folks that are pragmatic look at it and realize that this is a proposal that the far majority of municipalities in the state would be hurt from. There'd be some municipalities or cities that would benefit from this, but the other 150 plus municipalities would this would be a detriment to them. So because of that, I don't think, Democrat or Republican, I don't think that there's going to be much support for a lot of these measures. Yeah. And so, I think, one that I found interesting was the one proposal, I think it's SB 170, no, not 172. It's the proposal that basically would allow the towns to tax housing authority property, which currently is exempted because it's owned by the state, and the state's not going to want to pay the town any money. That proposal, I'm not necessarily objectionable to. Not that I believe it's going to go anywhere, because it would cost the state tons of money, and we don't have a lot of money going around. But it would be nice to get some revenue in from the state on some of the properties that, some of which are rather large, not just here in Brookfield, but in other areas. And it would be nice to get some revenue to the town from that. But other than that, I think the rest of these proposals, I don't think are going to be going much of anywhere. And I think there's good reason to have concern at Westcog because of them. So I'll leave it open to see if there's any questions, but that's kind of the summary.
yeah. There was another meeting last night, group in Fairfield called Fair Plan also had a meeting, and they had State Senator Tony Wang and Representative Kimberly Fiello, Kristen McCarthy Valley.
Yeah.
They had Francis Pickering of Westcog, and they had about 160 some odd people online listening to this thing. And there was a lot of discussion. And one of the things that came up was about the fact that they had discussion about the 830, a couple of the 830 proposals. And Tony Wang very honestly said it's a mess right now what they got for 830, but they recognize that the towns don't want the state mandating things, but they don't really know how to fix it. So
I think there is a way to fix it. I think that, frankly, that you could have a program in which towns like Brookfield, frankly, that this committee is a part of it, that are doing the right thing to try to implement affordable and incentivized housing. And Bethel's the same way. Bethel's done a lot of this, but don't fall within the threshold, obviously well underneath the 10% threshold that you need to meet in order to be exempt from the law. It would make sense that there was a standard in which if a town was making a concerted effort on their own to implement incentivized housing or affordable housing in certain areas, that they should be exempt from the law altogether, because they're making their own efforts. It would make sense for those communities, the zoning commissions, planning boards, for that matter, that aren't implementing these incentivized or affordable housings projects. It would make sense that 830G would apply, but for communities that are making a concerted effort to implement these projects in their communities, I don't see a reason as to why 830G should apply. And I think that to Senator Wong's point, I think there is a fix. I think I don't know. It's kind of ambiguous to say a concerted effort. The lawyer in me is thinking to myself, well, concerted effort can mean a lot of things. But you could better define it, over time to make a better statute that applies. But that's really what it comes down to. I think, frankly, there's communities that are making concerted efforts, Brookfield being one of them. I don't see a reason as to why 830G should apply. And I think that really would resolve the problem, in my opinion. But the likelihood of that actually being passed, I think, is slim to none.
As these bills start coming up, most of them, I looked at a couple of them online. A lot of them haven't even started scheduling legislative hearings at this point. They're just sort of moving very slowly. Just wondering whether it would help your position, or if the town, if our commission or wrote letters or something or join in doing some of the testimony that.
Absolutely. Yep. So Mr. Chair, that it would, but that would ultimately come, I think, obviously, as you said, when the hearings are scheduled, if they're scheduled, many of the committees of cognizance to these bills are already meeting their committee deadlines to schedule public hearings for these bills. Okay. So I will say the fact that some of the bills that I've reviewed, most of them, in fact, the fact that they don't have a scheduled public hearing date by this point is somewhat of an indication that it may not be moving forward, that proposal in general. So that's something that, I'll keep an eye on, and certainly if you're following the bills, you can keep an eye on to see if a public hearing date does come up. If one does come up, I will let you know. Right. And I think the testimony would be certainly helpful. But as I said, the fact that they don't have a public hearing date as of now would probably indicate that there may not be a chance that the bill is going to actually be drafted for a public hearing, which is, as everyone knows here, is the first step in the process.
Yeah. Also, John, as far as the town's affordable, I have filed for the affordable moratorium again, as per Steve Dunn's wishes. And I talked to Cohen and Wolf today about it, and we're well on our way to getting it all set. Good. For the next 4 years, until they figure everything out, hopefully.
Well, thank you, Alice. The town's in good hands with you.
Until they mandate that Danbury can expand into our house, or they put 1.5 miles housing around the railroad station as a mandate out of Hartford. And two of those things happen.
Steve, can I just, this is Alan.
Hi, Alan.
I just really, I think that the bottom line that I took away from the meeting last night, and there was really good discussion. I mean, as John said, over 160 people were there,
Mhm.
but it really was quite apparent to me that, you know, there are issues with affordability, you know, that we really are pricing out the lower income people. And I'm not talking about, low income for us is not the same as in Kansas. Okay?
Understood.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, they said something
It's all
like
relative.
you need two incomes in order to afford the rent on a 1-bedroom apartment. So, you know, this is an issue because, you know, where are we going to get the people, you know, in our area for the hospitals, for, you know, the lower income type of jobs. So, you know, I know this is a big question, but, you know, I think we have a specific, in our area, we've got a real issue. I did a look at the bill 172. You know, we kind of divvied up the various different bills within the Planning Commission so that we could actually look at them
Right.
and provide some feedback. You know, Alice, thank you very much, and Tammy at the town hall for providing the assessed values of housing. You know, to me to take a look. I provided a spreadsheet and an email back to all the commission members. Steve, I didn't know that you were attending. I would have forwarded it to you.
No, yeah.
But, you know, I guess the bottom line is that it really is apparent. We have an issue in Brookfield, and I'm sure that the same from the 160 people that were there, we have that problem. And so, you know, I think that this is something I think take away the principle to you back to the state legislature. We have to solve this. And you know, I think that, you know, 172 in particular was talking about providing an added assessment. If you had an assessed value, not a let's say a real estate value, but an assessed value of over $300,000. All right, so it really was on the upper tier. This was one way that they were talking about having, you know, to make some equity, to use that for affordable housing throughout the state. So, you know, right or wrong, you know, whether one agrees with it or not, you know, I think that this is, you know, certainly one avenue, one way of trying to pay for, you know, this added housing that we need. Yeah, so you know, I think that you know, guys, I sent you that email, you know, earlier today, but if you do have a chance to take a look, you know, I think you'll see we've got a lot of higher income, you know, housing. And
Yeah, we do. And I took a quick look at it also from the aspect of sales last year in Brookfield.
Mhm.
And Looney's tax on the 1% or whatever he was going to do over the 430,000 value. 50% of the homes that sold last year were over 430,000 in town. So, and I know you came up with even a better number on that one.
But it's going up every month for a variety of reasons, which is
So,
good for some of the old folks, but not necessarily good for people moving in.
so that tax thing, the first bill on the list there,
The mansion tax.
171. That one is start calling a mansion. When I looked at the houses that were sold, you're talking about ranches, 3-bedroom ranches,
Right.
maybe 1,500 square feet. You know, you can't call those mansions and have a mansion tax. That's ridiculous.
yeah, John, I thought was interesting in the meeting, not last night, but in the previous WestCog meeting, they were talking about, you know, trying to loosen up the zoning laws so that you could actually get more density, housing density.
Right.
All right. So, and that would keep, you know, if you did that, then you could keep people in their communities. So, Steve, that's another idea that perhaps should really take some look.
Well, the whole concept of, causing your currently a single family property to be a multifamily designation by, building a room over your garage, an accessory apartment in the back for grandma, that whole concept of how do you allow people of marginal income to be able to stay in their quote mansions. And that's one of the things that the bill I'm studying, which unfortunately I couldn't find a lot of information about, and I meant to reach out to Steve and we'll discuss that
You
later.
could, that's it, Bruce or Alan or John, whomever. You could send me. I don't know if there's a proposal they have or something, some information related to that, because that is interesting. Because Bruce, you bring up a good point of if you have individuals that have in-laws that live in the home or.
Well, you have three kind of flavors, right? You have some people are precluded from building accessory dwellings. Other people have non-conforming illegal dwellings, and some people who are here long enough have, grandfathered rooms over the garage,
Right.
et cetera.
Correct.
And I think one big thing that could be contemplated is legislating and legitimizing that. Getting the illegal dwellings out in the open, and if it's appropriate, taxing them. But also yet recognizing that as a viable. Greenwich is struggling with that. And some of the things they've put in are like, for example, you have to have 3 parking spots for a studio accessory dwelling. Well, it's ridiculous. You wouldn't rent a studio apartment to 3 car-owning people. It would typically be a single college student, whatever. So, the knobs that, unfortunately, the knobs that municipalities have turned to try to restrict that kind of development, instead of just allowing it out in the open and making it legitimate, with reasonable regs and governance around it, recognizing one, that it is a viable alternative to allow older folks to, one, stay in their homes, and 2, that people are going to do it anyway, and 3, it's potentially a source of revenue if it was to be legitimized.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bruce. And if there's any language on that or any information you have, just pass it my way, because I'd like to discuss that further. I appreciate that.
Well, any other questions or comments for Steve? Because we'll let him go watch TV tonight or.
I have a 3-month-old that doesn't sleep.
Oh, no TV for you.
No rest for the weary.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm young.
And he looks good. And he looks good with no
Yeah.
sleep.
Well, this is a little bit of a break, so I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for all you do. It's all volunteer work, and I really appreciate you all doing this for the town.
Well, we thank you for attending, Steve, and we'll pass on information as we get it.
Please do, and keep me involved. I'd like to join anytime. You let me know when you'd like me to call on. I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Steve.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you, Steve.
Good night. All right. Any more? Oh, on that topic, I also sent out an article from Gene this morning, written by 2 professors, I guess, and they have the view where they think it's great to have affordable housing. And I guess it was 8-47. I had it here in one of my files. Here it is. Yeah.
John, it's like I said, I think the 830G was born of good intention.
Yeah.
But it kind of went off on a wayward path. And somehow, it's like people talk about Obamacare, don't necessarily throw it out, but if there's issues we need to upgrade or change, do some revision. Because it is a topic
Yeah.
that's,
Oh, I hear they're talking about reviving that thing again. So we'll see what happens.
but I think.
Yeah, it's Senate Bill 487. It was the bill that they were supporting, the professors. One was an associate professor of social behavioral sciences at Yale School of Public Health. And the other one was an assistant professor of public policy and sociology at Pennsylvania State University. Too bad they didn't have the ordinary people involved with this article, but that's the kind of opposition that's or people who will be pushing for some of this public housing in suburbs. Now, again, thank you for the article, Gene. Very interesting to read it. Any more discussion on this topic, or do you want to give me reports of how you guys did with looking at these things? I know when I looked at my thing, nothing had been scheduled. No class Where I put it? The, oh, here it is. I had Senate Bill 171, which is the mansion tax, and like I said, I found that 50% of the sales last year were actually over 50% would qualify as mansions. I didn't think Brookfield had that many mansions, but anyhow. And Alan did a nice job at 172. Anybody else have anything to report? No, we were looking at 808. Linda,
That's
there may
mine.
not be much there.
It's the same as one, it's almost the same as Allen's.
Yeah,
Pretty much the same thing.
yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, my state bill 804, all I was able to find was 17 line items out of a committee. So there's really nothing. It appears that if I
Yeah,
could
and I
find
think
them,
until they start having public hearings and
yeah,
start
they have a
writing the
public
bill
hearing
up,
schedule.
writing the bill a little more in detail, you really can't do too much with it, but
Yeah.
just keep an eye on them and see what's
There wasn't
happening.
a lot of meat in my assignment. There wasn't a lot of meat involved. It was basically just 17 line items. One
Mine's
of
been referred to the Joint Committee on Planning and Development, so I don't know.
You know, you see, I think Scott might have an interesting one with the allowing duplexes in single family homes. So,
Yeah, I didn't get too far with it, but yeah, obviously I did do some research, and a large percentage of municipalities don't allow it. So
yeah.
I guess it comes down to that argument. What's the needs of the state versus the towns wanting to do their thing.
Well, and a question of how much of it are illegal, implementations of, just flying under the radar.
Right.
One thing we have to consider too is in our town, we have a lot of septic systems. So adding people in bedrooms makes a big difference.
Sure does. If you're on the sewer line, no problem, but otherwise,
It also taxes your well if you've got a marginal well to begin with.
yeah.
It works on both sides of the equation are taxed.
And what about the schools? The population in the schools
Schools?
increased.
Nobody worries about schools and public services. It's all going to come out of the tax dollars we're going to get out of them.
I was on the school board for 10 years, and I think oftentimes that thread gets overused. I mean, the reality is, when you look at the densities of a lot of public housing type partnerships, there's a lot of one-bedroom and studio apartments. And the honest fact of the matter is they really don't generate as many new enrollees in schools as you think. Sure, if you're building 3 and 4 bedroom apartments, you're going to get a fair share of kids. But the reality is a lot of the developments are multi-sized and offer a variety of accommodations. And it really doesn't become the taxing agent on schools you think it would. Other school facilities like English as a second language certainly is taxed. You talk about affordable housing, there's clearly you tend to the dimensions of people moving into those type of a supported units clearly does speak in favor of foreign speaking people, etc. So there are some dimensions of the school that does get impacted by high density housing, but generally speaking, developments generally don't significantly run up the school population.
So we'll keep following this as an agenda item for a while until we see some progress from the legislature. And as Steve says, maybe some of these things will die. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, John, the last point I'd like to make is that if these are statewide, then I think basically I don't believe that it's going to keep people from moving to Brookfield. I think that if you have the same assessments that are applied across the entire state, then it's not going to be the differentiating factor that will keep people from moving to Brookfield or have them move out.
No, but no, it'll be part of the incentive to move down to Florida.
Yes, yeah, I'd agree with that.
Take the money from our mansions and run.
That's right. Take our mansions and go down to make one of the southern mansions.
And buy even a bigger house in Florida because
You got it.
real estate's dirt cheap down there.
Or you can go to
No
South
state
Texas.
tax, right?
Right, to be able to pay cash with all that money you're making on your house. Anyhow, are we ready to move on?
Yes.
Okay, we're into correspondence. We had we had zoning meeting on the 28th of January. Item that I noticed of merit was on Federal Road. They are talking about a design review of a 6,000 square foot professional, medical and retail building. They had their public hearing on it. And they actually ended up approving it at 7:30, I believe, is somewhere near the area of the hearth. So but they did.
It is. It is.
It is, okay, yeah. So they passed that. Let's see.
Just so we need another doctor building.
Hey, if you can get to a doctor, I'll tell you something. If one of them is a dentist, my wife will be very happy. She has a broken tooth right now, which she needs extracted. And she can't find a dentist to do the job without, she called Danbury Hospital and all they take is people on Husky program, so.
Actually, calling Dr. Marianne Morelli.
I don't know, she called the doctor that was recommended by her dentist. And, she's got to wait until sometime in March to get the thing done. All I know is a couple of years ago, I had a problem with a molar. I went to my dentist. That afternoon, I was over in Brookfield Endodontics there, and it was taken care of. So,
I'm surprised that they're not doing it.
And they weren't recommended. You're going to be recommended. Remember that. Everybody with the COVID now, they're a little bit slow and
they have to take your insurance too, which is.
yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
That's the key.
yeah.
Dentists have been kind of immune from managed care and.
Right. Let's see. This was January. They continued outdoor dining until February. Pretty soon it'll be spring again, and they'll be continuing it again. The other thing is they had there's a White Turkey Deli wants to have a site modification for an outdoor deck. That was approved, and they nominated their current slate of officers for repeat for 2021. And they approved them all. So those are the things that jumped out at me. Let's see, was there anything else? No, not really. Anybody else got any items that I'll talk about on the zoning minutes of 28th? If not, I'll move on. And we'll talk about the Board of Selectmen. And one of the things that jumps out, they're looking for funds. In fact, they made a motion for funds to get electric vehicles in the future.
Yeah, and charging stations.
And a charging station.
Good luck finding an electric dump truck.
Well,
Yeah,
hopefully
they
it's
have
not being powered by a windmill. It's kind of cold up here at times in the winter. Yeah, Steve Dunn made a motion that the selectmen approve an appropriation in maximum amount of $250,000 with the town to match up to, but not to exceed $20,000 or $50,000 total of the cost for the purchase of electric vehicles and charging stations. To apply for an application for the congestion mitigation and air quality improvement program. That was accepted. So town vehicles may, Alice, you may be riding around in an electrical vehicle in the near future. You never know.
That's not a golf cart.
I know. Just wants to move like a golf cart.
You never know. You never know. With our town, it might be a golf cart.
No, I got nothing else that oh, here. No, they had some new hirees, but I don't know the hirees. And no, nothing else really came up that was concerning to me. But Anybody else got comments about the Board of Selectmen minutes? If not, I'll move on. Next item is, we got two items, actually. We got items from our neighboring town, Newtown, talking about industrial height and accessory apartments. And they're talking about changing their regulations on those. I look at that as basically a information only for us to let us know that they're doing it. I mean, they want to move their industrial buildings up to 45 feet in height. I think currently they're like 30. And what was the other one? Got it here.
On accessory apartments.
And they're adding accessory height apartments and making them bigger. They're making them 1,000 square feet instead of 800 square feet, or 35% of the main dwelling floor area, whichever is less. So that's going to be added. These, I think, are things that would concern our zoning commission more than us, but information. I think, have any other items for informal discussion that we would like to go to? I think
Only thing I have is did everybody see Sleep Done has published his recommended budget for town for next year? 1.73% increase, 3.04 for the school district, and significantly less for the overall town. So I thought that was pretty interesting, trying to hold the lid in the midst of COVID, trying to hold a lid on expenses.
Well, that's pretty good, holding only 1%.
Given the extraordinary expenses around COVID, yes.
Yeah.
So we're not-
Although I know we're going to get some kickback eventually from the state on that one.
Yeah, well, hopefully
Hopefully.
if they have money.
Well, they're hoping for Biden to give them some money, so we'll see what happens.
Trickle down, we'll see if that works.
We'll see whether it gets through Congress or not.
But that was pretty interesting, given the conditions we're all struggling with, that he at least is holding a line on expenditures.
Yes.
And it looks like they're going to do a full, town hearing, which we didn't have last year on the budget proposal.
Yeah, did that get rescheduled? We keep getting snow every time they schedule.
Well, he keeps moving it, but at least we're on track with doing it, as opposed to last year where it just kind of got enacted. So it looks like we're going to try to do it right this time.
We'll see.
Is that for the budget or for streetscape? Tuesday night's going to be
Tuesday the
streetscape.
23rd is streetscape.
Has it been rescheduled?
That's the one that's been bumped out about 3 times.
Yeah, about 3. It's supposed to be nice next week. We'll see. Anyhow, hearing nobody else, I'm almost ready for Linda.
Motion to adjourn.
No, you can't do that.
No, you're wise there.
All right,
Mr.
I'll second it. I'll second it then.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
Enjoy, everybody.
Stay safe.
Be safe
great
tomorrow.
night.
Anything more from
Thank you.
Westcog as far as these state bills and so forth, I will pass them on.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Gene will find another article for us to read too. Okay.
Somebody's got to watch out for us. Thanks,
Ralph, thanks for attending.
No problem. I enjoyed the show.
Okay, take care.
everybody.
Take care, all.
Good night.
Good night.